Okay, so we got our character brought over from Inkscape, where there's a lot more powerful editing options for 2D images. Turned into a Blender mesh, added a skeleton to it, and then uh, assigned all the weighting values so that the skin moves with the bone the way it should. Get those arrows out of the way. So, like if I rotate this bone, just moving our arm, or uh, just move the hand and leave the rest of the arm the same. Uh, Moving the legs. And this one was giving me trouble in the last video. Between videos, I figured out the foot was somehow connected to the neck. With a bunch of adjustments and just a basic, the skin is connected to the bone sitting right underneath it. And that's most of the work, because now all we need to do is just pose this skeleton in different positions and take a picture of it. And for animations, we just need keyframes. We pick the starting point and the ending point, and the computer will fill in everything in between. And then we'll be able to export all the pictures of all those things in between at once. And then, so once we get to this point, there's lots and lots of animations. We can just keep making animations until for everything we want. So just take your time on the last step, the weighting, and make sure that the mesh is connected to the proper bone when it moves. And this is just the basic one where the skin is all connected to the bone right underneath it. There's also another version called Inverse Kinematics, which, as you can probably guess from that name, if you go to look that up, you're going to see a bunch of complicated physics explanations. But what that really is sort of the way puppeteers would move marionettes, those key points. So just things about those connections that people have learned over the years, such as if we push on an ankle, have an outside force pushing on an ankle, we actually get more control over the knee and the hip, and the lower back movements from applying a pushing force to the ankle. And that's called inverse kinematics, the sort of stuff puppeteers would use to control marionettes. That is available too, but a little more advanced, so you might want to, if you're just starting out, practice with just some basic skin connected to the bone beneath it and position everything. So now we're ready to do our animations. So we'll come over to the animation tab and some of our key parts. Down here we have the dope sheet. This is where we choose our frames. We have a little preview thing here. I'm just going to use this, and when we don't want to see the bones, we can just turn them off and get a preview right in our main viewport. But there's a preview window built in as well. So now we just need to position our bones and decide what the keyframes are going to be so that the computer can fill in all the spots in between. And we'll want several animations. So to do that, here in our dope sheet, if we change over to Action Editor, we can define the animation, a particular animation. So we hit New, and I guess a good one to start with is going to be just an idle animation. What do we do when that character is standing still? So first off, make sure we're in pose mode. Hit with your cursor up here in the viewport, push A to select all the bones, then Alt R to make sure we're in the initial rotation. And I'm just going to have the character basically just standing here breathing while the character is just going to stand here and breathe when we idle. So I want it to start in this position. So with everything selected, all the bones selected, push I to insert a keyframe for the location it's in. Then I insert a keyframe for the rotation, and I insert a keyframe for the scaling. And I think I'll do a 20 frame animation. So I'll come over to frame 20, and again push I to set those keyframes for the main transforms. So right now, if we hit run, nothing's going to happen. Well, it's a 20 frame animation. So over here, we probably want to set start and end at 20. That way it just loops. And we know our first and last frame are the same, but nothing's happening in between. So we'll just pick a spot in the middle. I think I'll add another one here at 10 and do the core position there. And then, like, I guess halfway would be 5. And just move the bones a little. So I'll take and rotate this back like the character's breathing in. And I didn't need the arms to come with that. So I'll bend those back straight a little. That'll probably work. Hit A to select everything. I to insert our keyframes for all the bones again on the transforms. So now if we go to the beginning and hit run, we'll see the character breathes in. And we're basically just going to have the character stand there and breathe. So maybe we'll do something else on the other half. And obviously when we get over to the game engine, we can slow that down quite a bit. So over around frame 15, I'll select this bone and bring my mouse away from it so that I have a wider arc angle around the rotation. Hit rotate, bring it back just a little. And I don't know, this time I'm going to do something different with the hands. I'll bring the hands almost together. I'll see what this looks like. So select everything, insert those keyframes, location, rotation, scaling, and hit run. That'll work. Looks like our character is just kind of standing there breathing, flapping his arms around a little, anxious to do something. So that'll work for an idle animation. So now we can add in a walk animation and things the same way. So first thing is make sure this action is closed. So hit close here. And with that closed, create a new one. I guess I'll do a walk animation. That's kind of the basic ones, either standing still or walking. And we're already 7 minutes in, so I'm going to pause while I do this. And let's see. I guess first thing, still set for a 20 frame animation. So I'm going to select everything. Whoops. Select everything and push Alt-R to make sure all the rotations are reset. I to insert keyframes. And at the beginning and end, that way we know it'll be a smooth loop. I location, rotation, scaling. And now I'm going to try some things with walking and just be ready to make changes. So for example, over here in frame 10, oh, something like this. Select all the bones, insert a keyframe. And now when I run that, oh, that works pretty good. Looks like he's running. I was expecting that to not work so well. Obviously not a great animation, but that'll work for like a run animation. It's more like running than walking. So I'll call that run. But whoops. I was going to make the point that be prepared to undo and redo things. So maybe I'll close that and do another one. I just wanted a couple here. So I'll call a walk animation. So maybe kind of the same thing. Select all the bones, reset them, then insert our key rotations, our keyframes for each of the main transforms at the beginning and end. That way it'll be a smooth loop. And maybe somewhere in the middle we're going to try something. So I'm going to try something that's probably not going to work at all this time. So I'll rotate the head down, move this leg forward, this leg backwards, move the arm back, this arm way up, and then once again insert keyframes for all these: location, rotation, scaling, and give this a run. So probably not the one we wanted. So there's going to be a lot of, trying things, and then Control Z to undo it. Undo, undo, undo. So undo all those keyframes, and then just try again. So there'll be a lot of that, and just messing around getting the animations together. So I think I'll go with those two that are on here, the run and idle, and export those in the next video. But yeah, just try different positions, because now that we have our skin mapped to our bone structure, all we have to do is pose it, and we can just keep doing animations all day long now. So this is the bulk of the work we're doing. The bulk of the work's done. So now it's just posing it and then exporting those. And we will see that in the next video. I'll see you then. Yeah, a lot of trial and error. Be ready to undo and try again until you get the animation right like you want it.